It was supposed to be the most normal, laid-back night. Nothing special, nothing dramatic, just me and a few friends hanging out, ordering food. Maybe watching a dumb movie we'd seen 100 times before. That was the plan. Chill, simple, safe. But sometimes, the scariest nights start with the smallest, most harmless intentions. And if I had known what that night would turn into, I never would have opened my door. We had decided to meet at my place because it was the easiest. I lived close to everyone, and my living room had enough space for us to crash on the floor with blankets and snacks. The first two friends arrived on time, laughing about something stupid that happened on the way. We were already joking around, scrolling through movies, and waiting for the others. The mood was light, easy, exactly what I wanted. But then the texts started coming in. One by one, people canceled. First, it was sorry, got stuck at work, then can't make it tonight, feeling sick, and then my car won't start. At first, I thought it was funny, like the universe was telling us to just call it off, us. But my two friends were already there, and we didn't want to waste the night, so we said screw it, we'd hang out anyway. Just three of us, no big deal. We ordered pizza, grabbed some sodas, and settled into the couch. The house was quiet except for the sound of the TV, and the street outside was strangely still. That was the first thing I noticed. Normally, even late at night, you'd hear cars passing, neighbors talking, music from somewhere. But that night, nothing. It was like the whole block had gone silent. Around midnight, the doorbell rang. None of us were expecting anyone, and the pizza had already arrived earlier. We froze. I don't know why it felt so wrong, but it did. The chime echoed through the house, sharp and out of place, like it didn't belong in the night we were having. One of my friends joked, maybe it's a surprise guest, but nobody moved to open the door. It rang again, longer this time, then silence. We looked at each other, half smiling but uneasy. I finally stood up, trying to act casual, and walked to the door. When I peeked through the peephole, my stomach twisted. There was someone standing there, but they weren't facing the door. They were turned slightly to the side, head tilted down, like they were staring at the ground. I couldn't see their face, just a hood pulled up, shadowing everything. I whispered to my friends what I saw, and instantly the mood changed. We killed the TV, sitting in silence, waiting for the person to leave. But they didn't. They just stood there. Minutes passed. Then they lifted their heads slowly, and even through the tiny peephole, I felt their eyes lock onto mine. My chest tightened. They knew I was there. I stepped back quietly, trying not to make a sound. That's when the knocking started. Slow at first. Knock, knock, knock. Then louder, more aggressive. My friends whispered, asking what we should do, but I had no idea. Call the cops. Pretend we weren't home. The knocking stopped suddenly, and the silence was worse than the noise. I pressed my ear against the door, but there was nothing. We thought maybe they had left, but then came the sound of footsteps, slow, deliberate moving around the side of the house. We rushed to the window, peeking through the blinds, and there they were. That hooded figure, standing in the yard now, head tilted again, staring at the house like they were deciding what to do next. One of my friends grabbed their phone to call the police, but the screen froze. It wouldn't dial, wouldn't even unlock. We tried mine, same thing. No signal, no service, as if the world outside had been cut off from us. Panic set in. My heart raced, my hands shaking as I tried to think of a plan. Then the power went out. Everything plunged into darkness. The hum of the refrigerator gone. The glow of the TV vanished. We were surrounded by nothing but silence and shadows. My friend whispered, "This isn't real, right? This can't be happening." But it was. We lit a candle, the small flame flickering against the walls, making the house feel even smaller. That's when we heard it again, scraping against the back door. Slow, drawn-out scratches, like someone dragging their nails along the wood. We huddled together, whispering frantically, but none of us dared to move. The sound stopped, then started again, this time against the window. Scrape, scrape, scrape. I couldn't take it anymore. I grabbed the heaviest thing I could find, a metal lamp hand, crept toward the window. I pulled the curtain back just an inch, and my blood turned to ice. The figure was pressed up against the glass, face finally visible. But it wasn't a face. At least, not one that made sense. The skin looked stretched, too pale, with eyes that were too wide, glowing faintly in the candlelight. The mouth was open in a grin that didn't move, didn't breathe, just stayed. I stumbled back, dropping the lamp, and the sound must have alerted it. Because the next second, the window shook violently, as if it was trying to force its way inside. We screamed, scrambling to the other side of the house, our footsteps pounding against the floor. The banging grew louder, windows rattling one by one, until it felt like the whole house was shaking. And then, silence again. Total, suffocating silence. We held our breath, waiting for the next sound, but nothing came. Minutes passed. The candle flickered lower. Slowly, carefully. I tiptoed back to the front door and looked through the peephole again. The figure was gone. The yard was empty. We didn't trust it, not for a second. We sat together, huddled in the dark, waiting until the first hint of dawn. Finally, the power flickered back on. Phones lit up with notifications, missed calls, and messages. It was as if nothing had happened, as if the night had been erased. We checked the doors and windows. No marks, no scratches, nothing out of place. Not even footprints in the yard. My friends swore we all imagined it. Some kind of shared nightmare fueled by too much soda and late-night paranoia. But I know what I saw. I know what looked back at me through that glass. Since that night, I don't do chill nights anymore. Not at my house, not at anyone's. Because I learned something that night when plans fall apart. When everything feels too quiet, too empty, that's when things slip through. Things that aren't supposed to be here. Things that watch us. And if you're sitting at home right now, lights off, maybe watching this on your phone in the dark, ask yourself, this, if someone rang your doorbell right now, would you open it? Or would you wait, frozen, listening, hoping they'd just go away? Because trust me, sometimes they don't. If you made it this far, let me know in the comments what you think that figure was. Would you have opened the door or stayed hidden like we did? Hit the like button if you'd have survived the night. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories that prove chill plans can go very, very wrong.